Okay, I want to do a little talk away from the collections that I've been harping on lately because it is a huge part of the practice, but I want to move on to an issue that's important. I have a lot of clients who come in and say that they want to do background checks on potential occupants of properties in their community, especially in a condo. And my question to them, and they also want to do a credit check, and my question to them is, why in the world would you want to do something like that? Well, here's the challenge. The fact of the matter is that if a murderer was paroled and was allowed to be roaming the streets or served his time or her time, that person has the perfect right to live wherever they want. Except for maybe some sexual predators, which are part of this discussion as well. But the point is, assuming that they can live where they want to live, it's none of the association's business whether they were convicted of a crime or not, unless that's a condition of occupancy as contained in your documents. As an example, if someone has a dog, and dogs are not allowed in your community, and you ask if they have a dog, and on their application it says they have a dog, well, the case of Coquina Club versus Mance says that you can actually reject that proposed sale and not face any liability. Well, if your documents don't say that you can take into account things like past criminal history in determining whether to allow a sale or a lease, or conviction of crimes of a violent nature, or sexual offenders or sexual predators, then it does no good to do a background check. In addition, it's really irrelevant what someone's credit rating is, because these days, if you want to buy something, you have to put what is the old saying? You have to put a camel through the eye of a needle to get a loan. So assuming someone is actually creditworthy these days, it's irrelevant what their credit is. And if checking the credit of a potential occupant is not part of your condominium documents, then you have no interest in doing a background check and no ability to turn someone away because of that. While I'm at it, I will talk a little bit about collections. The law says in the Condo Act that if you have the right to approve and someone is delinquent in payment of their assessments, then you can reject a tenant where an owner is delinquent in payment of fees. Now, why you would do that, I have no clue, because the tenant is the best source of income to pay delinquent assessments. Under the Condominium Act, it says that if a unit is rented during a foreclosure, then you have the right to require the tenant to put the rent into the registry of the court. So you want tenants in units that aren't paying, so that when you do go to court to collect, you can collect those monies from the tenant. And if the tenant is ordered by the court to put the money into the registry of the court and fails to do so, that person is in contempt of court, which means the judge can order that the sheriff come out and put them in jail, or that they pay a fine. And so it's not a good thing for them to ignore a court order. But getting back to the issue of background checks, unless you have something in your documents that's related to something you're going to find out, I don't think it's worth your time or effort to do a background check, at least not to consider someone's criminal record or credit history. Moving on, a related issue is the interview. I am not a fan of interviews. I don't think you can find anything out during an interview that you can't find out through a background check. Someone could be the world's worst criminal and look you right in the eye, particularly pathological people. People like Ted Bundy murdered a lot of people, and he seemed like the nicest guy because he kept gaining trust of people and then murdering them. If you don't know who Ted Bundy is, you haven't lived in Florida long enough. But the bottom line of the matter is that the best way to get good occupants in your community is to have a proper screening procedure. If you need to, you should consider amending your documents to make certain criteria the basis upon which you can reject a proposed tenant. Remember that in condominium law, anything that affects the right of an owner to rent is not effective as to people who don't vote for it. It's only effective as to people who come on into ownership after them, and basically go from there. This is a very difficult area. You should talk to counsel about it before you do anything. And until next time, all the best.